You're listening to Kentucky Sports Radio on Talk Radio 1080.
Welcome back, Kentucky Sports Radio here in Lexington. Matt Jones, Ryan Lemon. Happy to be joined here in studio by our good friend from the University of Kentucky, the athletic director, Mitch Barnhart. Mitch, first of all, I'll tell you what, Ryan, until he gets fixed, why don't you let him sit over there, because we know that one works. You got it? All right.
I got it.
How you doing, Mitch?
Good.
Well, it's been an exciting month for you, I'm sure, with the hire. Let's start by just asking you this. What do you think after he's been on his job a little over 3 weeks? What have been your impressions about Mark Stoops and the job he's inherited and how excited he is about it?
Well, I mean, I think he's been everything we thought he would be in terms of the things he has done in working and assembling a staff and just getting out and the recruiting piece. We're in a period now where we can't, obviously we're in a dead period. But hit the ground running and did an awful lot of things to get to a lot of different spots in a hurry. In the whole time trying to assemble your staff and a lot of moving pieces. And, people, I think it's hard from our perspective. We don't realize because we haven't really had this job open per se for 10 years. So the last time this was open was 2003. Now, we had the transition with Coach Brooks to Coach Phillips, but that was a pretty seamless transition in terms of personnel. You're talking about a massive number of people moving in and all those pieces of the puzzle that have to come together with regards to university HR policies and background checks and all that stuff that goes.
And even just moving your family.
Yeah, and all these guys all their families are at home.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got children, and we were joking around a little bit with those new assistant coaches and the positions that the people he's bringing in to support him. Just in those families alone, there's like 27 children under the age of 7 in those families. So you're talking about a lot of So you're talking about a lot of families that are being impacted in terms of dads being away from their families, and now they're on the road recruiting. Not different what they normally do, but it's from a different locale. So, I mean, I've been very pleased with the way that they've gotten engaged in the recruiting process. Mark has been out and been doing things in the community already. And now he's in here for a little bit of time. We've got some time here where they can't be on the road recruiting. They can be able to tend to some of the details that need to be tended to. And you get organized for your winter workouts, and you get organized for your spring games and your spring camps and all that stuff. And so now the organizational piece begins to take a little better shape right now, and I think that's exciting. But he's been great, easy to work with. He's truly enjoying being at Kentucky. You can tell that there's a great enthusiasm for it, and but you always look about that transition of a guy that was an associate head coach and becoming a head coach, and he's made that transition and that moved fairly seamlessly so far.
All right, I want to sort of go back and kind of go through the process, because during the period of time, understandably, information is not out there at a time when people are the most excited to sort of hear about things. Let's start back to the end of the Joker Phillips era. When did you decide, or did you know, looks like we're probably going to have to make a change here? Was there a particular moment, or did it just build up? When did you know we're going to have to do it?
I don't ever. I'm a guy that, and I think people that have been around me a lot, I hope, would say that I'm a person that looks at the glass always half full. I want to be the eternal optimist, and I want things to work out. So I won't give up on things very easily. That may be an Achilles heel. People can take that for what it's worth. I really don't care. I think that hope is something that you always got to cling to in life, and so I will always cling to that. And I wanted it to be better. I wanted us to have a chance to have things end well for Joker in terms of this season, to be able to move forward. That's something I would always hang on to. I get not discouraged, but I get frustrated with people that you're talking about the thing that you're getting to do at the French Open, and people are sending emails saying, what do you know about tennis and stuff like that. They're, raining on the parade of being able to feel good about something. That's ridiculous. Why do people do that stuff? I have no idea. So I want to cling to hope. And so I would always hang on to that in terms of trying to find a key victory or something that you could move forward with. The thing that got discouraging from a university perspective and from a fan perspective or from a department perspective was just the disintegration of our fan support. And that really got difficult for us to manage. It's difficult from a lot of perspectives. It's difficult to manage that for recruiting. It's difficult to manage that in terms of your finances and the things that it means for the rest of your program. We rely heavily on the support of our football program for everything else that we do, not the least of which we want it to be great. We want to have a chance to do special things in football. So those things began to go sideways on us, and clearly the Vanderbilt game was a very difficult game for us to all watch. It was one where you don't have folks in the stands, and we got beat pretty badly, and that became very difficult to overcome all of that. So you get to a spot where the next weekend you've got a game that with Samford and then Tennessee, and it just became apparent after the Vanderbilt game that hanging on to hope that you could win that one, win the Samford game, get some momentum and go down the stretch, and it just became apparent that we were not going to get to a spot where we wanted to get to emotionally, and trying to hang on to something, and you had to move on. So that's where we began that decision-making process in my mind, and clearly kept that. I keep those things to myself. I don't think I need to have that out there.
No, I understand that. So you made the decision, I believe, on the Sunday after the Vanderbilt game. Mm-hmm. At that point, talk to me about, we don't do search processes. Talk to me. Do you have at that point a list of people you're interested in? Talk to me about step one when you decide your new coach. What's happening then?
Well, I mean, I always hear in this business, so he's got 5 guys in his pocket. There's a guy that's been spouting off locally about, he had no plan, everything. Don't give me that stuff. You have no idea. And for people to sit out there and say they knew what I was thinking or what I was doing, you can say I had no idea, but you have no clear. I mean, the only people I confided with were Dwayne and Mark Hill and the president. And a couple other.
For people who don't know, Mark Hill.
Yeah, Mark's one of our executive associate athletic directors. Used to be our strength and conditioning coach. And when Joker came on board, he brought on Rock, and so I wanted Mark. Mark is a really bright guy, and I felt like he gave me a perspective that I needed to have. When Mark Coyle left and became the athletic director at Boise, I brought 3 folks into what I would call my executive team in terms of. If I have that, I don't know if I have that, but it's Dwayne and Mark and Sandy, and those are Sandy Bell, and those are folks that I trust, and I gain opinions from, and not the least of which my senior staff. I talk to those folks very confidentially and just say, here's what I'm thinking, and here's where we're looking, and I'm not. I'd begun the preparation process in my mind in case I had to do something. I wanted to be prepared. I wanted to say, okay, these are the things I think we need to get better at, and here's where we need to go forward. And my initial thoughts were clearly I wanted to be better. I thought we needed to be better defensively. We're giving up 30-plus points a game. It was getting worse instead of better. We needed to be better defensively. You cannot give up 35 points a game in this league and have any shot at getting to anywhere in a championship conversation. You can't, to get to the bowl games that you want to get to do some of the things that everybody hopes that this program can do. You have no shot if you can't stop somebody. You will not continually outscore people in this league. It's been done on occasion, and there's people who have been able to come in here and do that. But at the end of the day, you've got to play some defense to be able to win in this league. So if you look at even in Coach Brooks' era when we were going to the bowl games, we were in that 24, 23, 22 points a game giving up. Some of the great defenses in our league are in that 18, 19, 17, 18, 19 range. And those are the teams that are going to compete for the SEC East Championship, essentially the Atlanta Championship, and getting into the BCS. Those are the numbers you've got to be. When you're third down, you've got to be able to get your team off the field in third down.
Something that's been bad.
And we've really struggled getting off the field in third down. And so you've got to get your defense off the field, especially if you're not deep, and you've got to get your offense on the field and be able to score some points. And so those were the things that concerned me. And so I began to look at folks from a perspective that did that, and then 2, enhanced our recruiting base. How do we enhance our recruiting base, and what did that look like? And who are the pool of people that I felt like enhanced our recruiting base.
When you say that, do you mean different areas?
Yeah, or more areas.
Yeah.
Where we're getting to areas that maybe that we haven't done as well as we possibly could have, whether that was Ohio or Florida, and those were two areas that were of great interest to me. When you look at the number of players coming out of the different areas in the country, how do we get some of those players to cross all the boundaries to get to a place like Kentucky? And so those were parts of those conversations, and so that was important to us. And so those two pieces where we started to initially.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and come back. We'll talk a little bit more about the process and the future of Kentucky football. Mitch Barnhart here, Kentucky Sports Radio. We'll be right back in just a minute.
To talk to Matt Jones, call.
Now back to Kentucky Sports Radio on Talk Radio 1080.
Welcome back, Kentucky Sports Radio. Well, I'm not going to give you the number because we're not taking calls, so we'll give it to you later. Mitch Barnhart here in studio. All right, so we talked about what you were looking for. When it first happens, do people contact you? I mean, do you all of a sudden get people saying, hey, think about me, or I'm sure it's not the coaches themselves, but people around them. Did you get sort of flooded with information?
Yeah. You're going to get all that. You get people, you get agents that are calling you, you're going to get search firms that are calling you, you're going to get coaches that are going to call you, you're going to get people that are close to coaches that are going to call you. It's all you can imagine.
Especially because you were first, really. I mean, you had the first job opening.
We were. There was, obviously everybody knew Arkansas was in the mix for the coach. They knew Idaho was out there. They were, in terms of another Division I job, they were out there. And that wasn't the goal. The goal wasn't to be first. The goal was just to emotionally get to a different spot in our program where we knew that we were able to move on and give Joker and his staff and those guys the best chance for them to move on as well. And we felt like that gave us the best chance the last 2 weeks of the season for us to thank him for what he's given this program for 10 years and for our players to play for their coach. And we thought that was important.
And when you were making a decision to make a change or not, do you look at the landscape to say, because some people were worried, oh no, there's going to be probably people knew Auburn, Tennessee, Arkansas, there may be these other SEC jobs. Do you look at that or you just say, we need to do it for us?
No, I don't think you can do that. I think that you've got to look at it and say, you've got to assume that the landscape's going to be a mess, which it has been. I mean, it's, initially, and as I was looking at the list of schools that I thought might make a change, it wasn't that big a list. And then all of a sudden you're into it. Now you've got, I think the list is up there, there's going to be 23 or 24 new Division I football coaches at different schools next year. I mean, that list it was double the number that we initially thought it was going to be. And so all of a sudden, and I think you're going to get hit with another wave of them here pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to go to the NFL is going to come in and they're going to swoop in and take a handful of coaches, 2 or 3 or 4 coaches out of the Division I mix. And then all of a sudden that's going to create another ripple effect of other coaches openings they're going to create. So I think in the world of college football, you're going to have 2 cycles now. Where we used to only have one, now you're going to have 2 cycles. You're going to have one cycle that's going to occur at the end of the regular college football season and one that occurs at the end of the NFL season. It used to look that way, but they were more closely aligned. I think there's 2 different cycles now, and I think that's going to happen almost all the time.